Good evening. I'd like to call to session this public work session action meeting of the Mahwah Board of Education on February 27th, 2019. Would you please take roll call?
Ms. Conoco.
Here.
Dr. Morthy.
Here.
Mr. Wendrikowitz. Ms. Saccone.
Here.
Mr. De Silva.
Here.
Mr. Gallo.
Here.
Mr. Coplin.
Here.
Mr. Kizmarski.
Here.
And Ms. Barron.
Here. Adequate notice of agenda of this meeting has been provided to the Ridgewood News and the Record, specifying that the Mahwah Board of Education will meet on February 27th, 2019 in the administrative offices, 60 Ridge Road, Mahwah, New Jersey. A copy was filed with the Township Clerk. Ms. Saccone, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Would everyone please rise? Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May I have a motion to recess to executive session? Mr. Gallo, second by Mr. Kizmarski. Thank you. We should be back momentarily. Thank you. Okay, may I have a motion to reconvene? Ms. Conoco, second by Ms. Saccone. Thank you. Agenda questions. Please limit your questions at this time to resolutions under new business on this agenda. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than one and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you are here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Please specify the resolution you are referring to in your question. Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to open the meeting to the public? Mr. Gallo, second by Mr. De Silva. Okay. Okay, the motion to close the public meeting to the public. Mr. De Silva, second by Mr. Wendrikowitz. Okay, Dr. Schoen, do you have a report for us today?
I do. I just have one topic that I'd like to discuss. I had shared with the board at the end of last week, but I would like to reiterate that Mr. Pascal, principal, of course, of Mahwah High School, was proud to announce that a member of the class of 2019 has been designated as a National Merit Scholarship finalist. Andrew Hines is a recipient of this honor. He's been named as a member of the top 16,000 students from the original pool of 1.6 million juniors who took the PSAT in 2017. The National Merit Scholarship Program has now determined which of the 16,000 semifinalists named in September of 2018 have met all the requirements to advance to a finalist standing in the competition. All finalists will be considered for the National Merit Scholarships to be offered in 2019. A sincere congratulations is offered to Andrew. The last time that we had a National Merit Scholarship finalist was back in 2016. So it's really a huge honor, and I think it's worthy of note.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Let's see, Mr. Leaker, do you have a report for us this evening?
Yes. Okay, good evening. Just 2 items to report on. The STEAM addition, update on where we are with that. Interior masonry walls are currently being constructed, as well as some interior framing walls for the 2 bathrooms that are being put inside the addition, as well as the hallway going from the addition to Building 7. We're also doing some site work currently on the parking lots, and roofing materials are expected next week, so the roof can be installed, as well as some of the utilities equipment that are going on the roof can be forklifted up and put in place as well. The other item to report on is the budget. Just a reminder that our next board meeting, March 13th, the preliminary budget will be on the agenda for that evening. For those that don't know, the preliminary budget is voted on at that meeting. We then send it to the county office. The county reviews it at their level. It will come back to us, and we are anticipated to adopt the final budget for next school year, the 1920 school year, at our May 1st meeting. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fair, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yes. You'll see that we have 2 retirements on our agenda, 18A and 18B. Most of the board have met formally both of these teachers through our staff highlights. Wonderful people. So Miss Karen Johnson is on 18A. She's worked as an elementary teacher at Betsy Ross School for the last 25 years, being part of the transition into full-time kindergarten. Karen is known to look at challenging situations with a positive attitude and with a creative problem-solving perspective. Children have always remained as Karen's priority. Working with children at such a tender age takes extraordinary skills, and Karen was certainly born to do it. She's passionate, patient, talented, and establishes trusting relationships with every student in her class every year. Ultimately, she has had a substantial impact on her students as well as her colleagues. Karen shared in her retirement letter to the board that she recently found her resume and cover letter that she sent to Mahwah back in 1994. She states in her retirement letter that it was so interesting to read what 27-year-old Karen had to say back then. What really struck her about the cover letter was that her philosophy of teaching was exactly the same then as it is now. Kids first, always kids first. So we wish Karen the very best in her retirement. Our second retirement to announce this evening is Miss Patty Simons, who's a teacher at George Washington School. She's been there for the last 22 years, and before serving as our reading specialist, she worked in district as a member of our food services staff. Patty has proven that with hard work, dedication, and love for your students, every student can be successful. Patty's enthusiasm for teaching and learning is contagious. So is her laugh, if we remember that, and her impact on her students and colleagues is immeasurable. Although GW is her home, Patty's reach has extended far beyond the walls of GW. She has served as a mentor, teacher, leader, and trainer for many colleagues across the district. Patty also, she had some poignant things to share in her own retirement letter. She shared, "I will always consider myself to be one of the lucky folks in this world whose career consumed them in a good and productive way. I have many people to thank in this regard, and I will start with this letter." In fact, Patty concluded her retirement letter by sharing, "After being in Mahwah for 31 years, I'm leaving a big chunk of my heart here in this beautiful place." So Patty, too, will also be missed. So thank you.
Thank you very much. This evening, I just wanted to give some updates on the Mahwah Schools Foundation. Mahwah School Foundation is having the Thunderbird Run on May 19th. So they're still looking for volunteers if anyone's interested in volunteering to help out with that run. They'll have a tricky tray on June 7th at Ramapo Ridge Middle School. Linda Walter and the National Junior Honor Society will be hosting the Tricky Tray, and each year they pick a nonprofit to donate the proceeds, and this year they've chosen the Mahwah Schools Foundation. So mark your calendar for June 7th, and then save the date for October 24th. That's the 19th annual gala featuring Casino Night, and it will be held again at Seasons in Washington Township. And then lastly, the spring grant cycle is opened, and Ms. Gaslow has let all principals know about that cycle, so just want to remind everyone that is open, and we're looking for new and innovative grants that will benefit our students. I also want to mention that Mahwah High School will be putting on, the drama department will be putting on the production of Little Mermaid with senior citizen performance on March 13th, and the production is the 14th through the 17th. I know they're also looking for volunteers for that to help out, so if anyone's interested, just reach out to or just actually watch online, and we'll probably have the work days showing there that you can come and help out. And that's all that I have for everyone this evening. Board committee reports. Do you have any committee reports this evening?
I have one for policy real quick. Is this on? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. On 17F, we have 15 policy revisions for first reading. And I talked about 1 or 2 meetings ago that we're working on the entire 2000 series policies and regulations. These are the ones so far that we've gotten through that we have revisions for. We still have, I think, about 35, 40 more policies to sit down and discuss, and then we can get into the regulations. So we're making progress. We're getting there. But the ones that are there are the revisions that we have so far.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just a brief negotiations committee update for the public. We, on this past Tuesday, yesterday, we concluded our third face-to-face meeting with the MEA, and we are making constructive and positive progress in our meetings.
Thank you very much. Board member remarks. Do we have any other board member remarks or additional comments on any non-agenda items? Yes. Dr. Murphy.
I just actually wanted to comment on the retirements and congratulate both, but particularly Patty Simons, who actually my kids didn't even have at GW, but it felt like they did because she was just such a part of that school, always smiling, always so happy to see students and parents, which is sometimes students, yes, but parents too. And you know what? She spoke it. She said, I mean, her heart is in Mahwah, and she gave her heart every single day. So congratulations to her. And she's going to be in sunny Florida, I think. So that'll be nice. But anyway, congrats to her.
Yes, Mr. Kopp.
I want to piggyback on what Dr. Murphy said too. My children did have Miss Simons, and actually my son's still going through working with her. And we could all look back at our school days and look at teachers that made a difference. And Miss Simons, in 20, 30, 40 years, my kids are going to look back and say she's the one that made a difference for them. So I just want to publicly thank her for everything she's done for all the kids that went through GW, and she will be sorely, sorely missed.
Thank you.
Her success with children over the years bodes well for alternate route certification, because she began here as an alternate route as a classroom teacher, or the alternate route use. She was the head of the food services when she was here.
Yeah, those two retirement letters were among the most touching that we've had to date, and it's just another reminder of the great staff we have in the district, not just among the retirees, but the folks who stay here and pull on the oars every day. It's a real testament to the quality of the folks we have here and the dedication they have to our students.
So I was going to wait until we got to 18 to talk about Ms. Johnson, but since we're doing this now,
Go for it.
Keep the train going.
Ms. Johnson.
So I was lucky enough my family was lucky enough to have two of our three daughters have Mrs. Johnson. And Dennis, sorry. Dennis, when you talked about, about Ms. Johnson and the impact that she had on her students and the faculty, bigger impact on parents. So kindergarten teachers have a special sort of responsibility. It's the first time that these little princes and princesses are going off to school for the first time, and yeah, it's a big adjustment for the kids, but it's just as big adjustment for the parents. And I don't know which one is probably more challenging, between the kids and the parents. And Ms. Johnson has this way about her that if you're going to drop your kids off for the first time, it's a nerve-wracking thing for parents. Ms. Johnson is the person that you want to know that she's who you're dropping your kids off to. She just has that way about her that makes parents comfortable. Of course, the kids absolutely love her. She's definitely going to be missed. I'm sure she's going to be doing lots of camping, lots of traveling, and I wish her a very, very long, happy, prosperous, and enjoyable retirement.
Thank you. Wonderful words. Thank you all. Okay, may I have a motion to move old business? Mr. Gallo, second by Dr. Murphy. Okay. Take a roll call. Yes, please.
Ms. Conoco,
Yes.
Dr. Morthy,
Yes.
Mr. Wendrikowitz,
Yes.
Ms. Saccone,
Yes.
Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Copland,
Yes.
Mr. Kazmarski,
Yes.
and Ms. Barron.
Yes. Next, I'd like to take new business. May I have a motion to move on that? Mr. Wendrikowitz, second by Mr. De Silva. Do you have any discussion on these items?
Real
by
quick.
board members? Yes.
The F policies. Can you give me the rationale as to why all the changes from pupils to students occurred?
Because it's 2019. I
I'm sitting there thinking, what? I don't understand. Also, another question I have for you regarding, hold on now. There were two or three policies in there, other than the fact that they last visited in 1999, there were no changes in them, yet they were voting on them again. Is that the reason, because it's 1999?
Well, we reviewed all of them. So there were a lot of them. Some of them were last reviewed in 1999. There are a lot of them that are still relevant. The statute citations are still correct. They still make sense. The ones that we're voting on here, if there's something that we wanted to tweak, we wanted to change. The other ones we're not even seeing.
There were no tweaks there. I looked 3 times. I kept rereading. I said, why why are they in here?
Sometimes it depends on the program that you open it up, and you might not see the red lines. I had on my computer.
Bless
On
you.
my computer at home, I can see them. On my computer at work, I can't. So we can get you a copy of what the changes were.
Some,
With Brett's red line, we
Yeah,
can see
Brett.
more time.
yeah, I know, I'm aware of Brett's red line. I'm really aware of those. Some of the policies we did not change.
Right.
We did not change, and the reason that we're putting them forward is rather than them read 1999, we want them to say
That's what I thought.
reviewed, right, 2018. Because over the next few years, over the next few years or so, we're gonna be going through all of the policy guides, and you're gonna run across 99
Right.
ones.
And
throughout.
Peter, there are some that are completely different, and we might not have changed the new version, but it's completely different from the old version. So the ones, if you can see red lines on some of them and not on others, the ones that you're looking at are probably where we had a policy and Strauss Esme recommended that we replace it with theirs, and we looked at it and said, okay, theirs is good with no changes. You're not going to see red lines on that because the whole thing is different. So that might be what you're looking at.
That's
Okay.
probably
Yeah,
because we
so-
chose Strauss Esme along the way.
Right, so if you want to shoot me an email afterwards which policies they are, and we'll make sure that that's the case. But that's probably what it is.
In the case where Strauss Esme has a complete replacement, let's say it was policy 1, is the replacement policy also policy 1? Or
Yes.
is it given
Yeah.
a different
Numbers
number?
are the
Policy,
same.
policy numbers
All
will
the
stay the
numbers
same.
stay the
Yeah,
same.
because the content, the subject matter is
Got
the
it.
same, so the numbers stay the same. 17D. I want to congratulate Coach Wagman and his squad on the season that they've had this year. Most of you guys know I wrestled with Coach Wagman back in high school, way back when. So I can attest to the quality of the instruction and guidance that they're getting from Ben, and I think it's great. He's got a gentleman heading to the States. That's
Fantastic.
awesome. And
Yes.
I mean, they've had a great season this year altogether. Did well in regions, and great to see. So congratulations, Coach Wagman.
Thank you. Anyone else? We're good to go? Okay, take a roll call, please.
Okay. Roll calls for new business 17A through I. Ms. Conoco,
Yes.
Dr. Morthy,
Yes.
Mr. Wendrikowitz.
Yes.
Ms. Saccone, Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo,
Yes, except on 17A, I'm abstaining from check number 094079.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes on everything, but on 17A, I'm abstaining on check 94109.
Two?
Two.
Which one of them?
Take you long.
Only would have known.
Mr. Kazmarski,
Yes.
and Ms. Barron.
Yes. And I'd like to take new business, 18A through N. May I have a motion to proceed? Mr. Gallo, second by Ms. Conoco. Do you have any comments on any of these items? Is everybody good to go? All right, could you take roll call, please?
Okay. Ms. Conoco,
Yes.
Dr. Morthy,
Yes.
Mr. Wendrikowitz,
Yes.
Ms. Saccone,
Yes.
Mr. De Silva,
I'm going to vote no on A because I think she should be here forever, and yes on the remainder.
noted. Mr. Gallo,
No.
No.
Yes.
Learn from him.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
Mr. Kazmarski,
Yes.
and Ms. Barron.
Yes.
Thank
We have public questions or comments. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. May I please have a motion to open the meeting to the public? Mr. Copeland, second by Mr. De Silva.
Evelyn Slackborough, 43 Thunderhead Place. Two things. Karen Johnson, I want to wish her well. Her and Mrs. Bennett were institutions with the guitar, and I'm not going to sing because I don't have my children's voices, but here we are all together as we sing this song. But and then I did reach out to the town council regarding the traffic light, the potential traffic light in the parking lot. So basically, it's in the transportation subcommittee. They're reviewing it. Once they review it, it's going to go back to the town council. Then from there, they're also submitting for an LOI for the cell tower also. So that may come back for the Secor property, Board of Ed. So those two things may end up then back here. But hopefully the traffic light, potential traffic light, and the plan will be able to be implemented after the STEAM building's fixed, because with all the potholes and everything, hopefully the whole area can be fixed, the potholes, the traffic light, etc., over the summer. That would be nice. So, and Kyle, when you get a chance, I'd like a copy of the report. I emailed you. Thank you.
Mrs. Lockbear, the potholes, just on the secondary piece of that, we've had Mr. Romero, our new supervisor, brought in a contractor to give us a proposal on fixing those. I anticipate they're going to start doing that tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So
I
we
wasn't
won't be
sure, would
dealing-
the trucks keep going in and
It's
out?
the trucks, it's the weather, it's the plows,
Yeah.
and so we need to not just patch, we need to do it a little bit more professionally. So we had a proposal done on all 6 of our schools where there are areas in need, but he will be starting off on this exit,
Yeah, I just
believe,
figured
starting
with the
tomorrow.
trucks going in and out, it's probably gonna break it up somewhat again, so.
It is, but we've had people who are getting flat tires, and
yeah,
it
it's
really
bad.
has to be addressed sooner rather than
Okay.
later, even if it has
Oh,
to be
perfect.
addressed again. So I just wanted to let
Perfect.
you know that that'll be occurring far sooner
Okay,
than the summer.
perfect. And the cell tower, they're looking at the already disturbed wetlands up by that lot by Secret Farm that the BOE owns. So they're looking at both the Firehouse 3 and that lot again, and it just depends on the buffer zone and what they're gonna be able to do with the cell towers, so.
Thank you. Thanks for that update. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Move for adjournment.
Oh, yes. May I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Mr. Gallo and the entire board. Ms. Saccone, thank you very much. Thank everyone very much for attending.
Oh, my gosh.